Hello!
Hi!
And welcome to This Tree. We went to the cinema this weekend.
Yeah, as usual.
Yeah, what we do every weekend except the ones where we were moving.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw basically the only things they were showing that we hadn't already seen or were bothered to see. Well,
I mean, we weren't necessarily bothered about the first one, but...
No, well, we saw Red One and we saw Gladiator 2, and there wasn't a film that had a free in an... Or was the Venom film the third film?
The Last Dance, yeah.
Oh, we could have gone 1, 2, 3. Red 1, Gladiator 2, Venom 3.
Don't have any. I've never seen any of the Venom movies, and I don't really have any interest in.
No, I didn't have any interest in Red 1 either. But
well, no, but...
I didn't want to just see one movie.
Yeah.
So we saw 2. Those were the 2 we saw. They were all we had. I don't know if there were better releases in places with bigger cinemas in London where they show niche things that they wouldn't dare show to us lowly peasants out in the outskirts. I'm running on. Yeah. So should we talk about Red One first? That was what we saw first. What do you say about Red One as a film?
Right, so going into this, I thought it was going to be absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So, I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Because it wasn't awful.
No.
And I wasn't bored at any point. I found some of the jokes really cringe, and I thought a lot of the plot didn't really land how it should have done, or could have done, because some of the plot points are very good. It's just how it was done that isn't necessarily great. But I enjoyed it for what it was, and I did think J.K. Simmons was very average as Santa.
Yes, I did as well. I mean, I think I agree with a lot of what you say there. I don't think I was at all surprised. I think this was exactly the movie I was expecting, which would be a fairly entertaining but pretty, like, as you expect type. Dwayne the Johnson. No,
Dwayne the Johnson Rock.
What? I can never remember which one. Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
But in the credits, he was just called...
Dwayne the Rock. It's not Dwayne Johnson the Rock.
No, it's Dwayne the Rock Johnson usually. But like in the credits, he was listed as just Dwayne Johnson. So if he's trying to get away from the Rock.
He possibly... So, well, I don't know why you say that, but everything he does is the same. So
that's very true.
It's not like he's getting away from his characters. But yeah, I wasn't surprised. I did get bored. The moments I got bored in this film was when it was trying to be moving and meaningful. And he had long speeches about Christmas and how important it is for the kids.
I didn't mind that.
I did. I just felt it was like they're really trying to get it to be moving, and he kept having to add more dialogue to try and get to the... Like, it was almost waffling, I thought.
Yeah. I did think Chris Evans was actually very good in this, because I was kind of going into it thinking, he's a weird choice for a Christmas movie. But... I thought he was really good.
I think he was the best part about this. Yeah. Especially because he did get to be... I mean, I when I saw the poster, for some reason in my head, I thought it was Ryan Reynolds doing that role.
I'm thankful it's not.
Well, it was that kind of role, wasn't it? With a slightly cynical, snarky. And that is kind of what Chris Evans did, but I believed it much more as a cynical person, I think.
And I think it's a better acting performance than Ryan Reynolds could have done, because that would be Ryan Reynolds just being Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Whereas this is like someone, I think like Chris Evans is apparently meant to be a very nice man, who is playing someone who's, well, he's not nice, he's just a bit of an arsehole, but... Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was the best thing about it. I thought The Rock was just The Rock.
The Rock, yeah.
I kind of tune him out sometimes. When I watch him, I feel like he's like white noise of cinema in a way. Like he's just there as you expect. I
thought he had some like quite funny moments in it.
Yeah, but he always it's always the same sort of quips he delivers and things. And I'm pretty sure he's contractually obliged to never clearly lose a fight in cinema. I don't think it's written into his contract that he can't do that, and he can't be made to look weak in any ways. I'm fairly sure it's something like that. And he doesn't cry. I mean, maybe he does, but does he ever cry?
I don't think
more than like maybe a solitary tear sometimes, I guess. But
he got slapped by Krampus.
Yes, and that person next to us clapped. No, they clapped when he slapped Krampus back.
Yeah.
They clapped, which annoyed me. I can't imagine ever clapping at a action moment, but
surely that does show weakness, that he needs a special glove to be able to slap Krampus, whereas Krampus can just slap him.
Yeah, well, I think he's allowed to be, but like not like as a person, not like be on the floor defeated and being kicked while he's down and that kind of, that level of it. I'm fairly sure that's a thing. But he was The Rock. J.K. Simmons I didn't like. I liked J.K. Simmons.
I think this channel is turning into a J.K. Simmons hate group. Because in the Baldur's Gate one, we also said we really didn't like him in that.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to play Santa, there's got to be some joy or energy or something about you. And the fact this Santa is... He does weights, and that's something I suppose interesting. That's an element to his character.
Yeah.
But apart from that, he's just a very calm, slightly just... There's nothing coming from him.
He's just an old man that enjoys weightlifting and cookies.
Yeah,
that's all you really get about his character.
This doesn't strike me as a man whose sole passion in life is to bring joy into the world. I didn't get that. I didn't see him joyous really on any occasion.
Yeah. I really liked the concept that Santa's burning all these calories so he has to eat cookies and stuff. But they didn't really go into that more either. I thought that was quite a fun concept.
That's the thing with this. A lot of the concepts okay, that is a bit that did surprise me. I did quite like some of the ideas. I think the idea of doing a film where Santa gets kidnapped and you've got bodyguards type heist mission thing.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous, and that's what could be really fun about it. I think with a director who was more playing up how ridiculous everything is, this could be really fun. It could be completely bonkers. And I like the idea you've got snowmen fighting, and if you take the carrot off their noses, they fall apart. That's a cool idea.
I really liked the polar bear bodyguard to Santa.
Yeah, you just like that because it was an animal, didn't you?
Yes, and I like polar bears.
Anything else you liked about it?
There's part of me that would have switched The Rock for Batista in this movie.
I would have done. I don't think that would been... that's the thing that bothers me with
that might just be me being excited. Fun fact about me time, I do love me a bit of WWE, and I have since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I always have preferred Batista to The Rock. So it could be biased, but I do think Batista is more fun as an actor. I think he's got more variety of characters as well, because he's gone from Glass Onion, Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. What else has he been in that we've seen?
Those are the two I can think of.
Oh. Okay.
Well, he was in Dune, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah. So he does.
That's where I heard about the Rock thing, because I know in Dune Part 2 he gets but I think by what's he called? Is it Asa Butterfield or is that the other guy?
Asa Butterfield's not in that film.
He's the one that
Timothée Chalamet?
No, the villain one.
Oh, Austin Butler.
That's the one. That's close.
I mean, the right initials, just completely wrong person.
I think it's him. Beats the hell out of Batista in that. Yes. And I think the agents were saying, should we try and stop this because it makes you look weak as a wrestler actor. The Rock has this contract where he can't, and Batista's like, no, do it. I don't care. He
kind of has kind of silly roles, and I kind of like that.
I do. He's got a lot of energy for that. He's good for that. He's got more energy than J.K. Simmons had.
Yes. So that's what I would have. I would have switched The Rock with Batista.
I mean that's what disappoints me about this film, because I do like the idea. It could have been ridiculous if you replace J.K. Simmons with someone doing a mad Wonka version of Santa.
Yes.
Replace The Rock with Batista, someone with a bit of energy, someone who is not just everyone's very serious in this movie. It's a Christmas movie. Why are they so serious?
The Rock's facial expressions don't change.
Well, he raises an eyebrow.
Yeah, but that's The Rock's thing, isn't it? That's what he does. And he always has a weird smolder smirkiness to his face that kind of annoys me after a while.
It does annoy me. He's so just beige somehow.
I would have liked more of I can't remember Chris Evans' character's name, the Wolf, let's call him.
Yeah.
His son, I would have liked in it more.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the son bit. Yeah, because that was a bit where I think the meaningful movement stuff side of it did work the best, was when he had a conversation with his son. That's quite nice. But I
think it was all kind of just thrown at you too late. I think if it was sprinkled in from the start.
Most of the son stuff was exposition of being told a lot of times that Chris Evans doesn't spend enough time with his son, and then finally gets a moment to say, sorry, I've not spent enough time with you.
And then The Rock giving him a bit of like advice on.
Yeah. It was a lot of that was exposition, really, wasn't it? And then his son at the end didn't really get anything to do. He when fighting broke out, he helped escort Mrs. Claus away from the fight.
Back to the kitchen where she spends most of the film making cookies.
That was a bit that made me laugh, yeah. It's like this whole thing of Santa's been kidnapped. And about halfway into the movie, they like cut to like a video call with Mrs. Claus to see how she's doing. And she's like, "Oh, I've just been baking cookies for when he gets back." It just feels... That made me laugh. It wasn't actually her. That was a trick. Not to spoil it.
I mean, I don't think there's much to really spoil about this film. I think it's kind of predictable.
Yeah, it's exactly what you expect it is.
Yeah, I liked it though. I mean, it's better, like, compared to some of the films on our list, I think it's
I was mostly entertained. I think the choreography was fine, the effects were fine. Everything was fine, but that's, in a way, its problem, I think. It's not a movie I would ever bother to see again. It's a movie to put on in the background, I think.
I think I maybe would. I think it's a good one to watch, like, at Christmas if you're with family and you kind of want someone to, like, put in the background while you're, like, talking and, like, things like that.
But it's not one of those ones where you go, "Oh, this is the film I want to watch with my family." It's one of the ones where nobody can decide. It pops up on Netflix because marketing have paid money for it to pop up. And you go, "Oh, okay, this will do. I can't be bothered searching any longer."
And they've released it now just in time for streaming at Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would watch it again. Who knows?
Is there anything you found special about this film? Anything that did stand out, really?
Not in the slightest.
No, I don't think either. I think the villain was really dull as well.
I think they got the wrong actress.
It took a lot of explaining this Christmas witch
You
character.
also were like, afterwards, like, they're rounding up the usual suspects of, like, who could be guilty for kidnapping Santa. And you're like, why wouldn't the first person they go to be the Christmas witch who's adamant against Christmas? And like,
they didn't think of that one. I mean, that's another thing. The whole villain wants to punish everyone on the naughty list by sticking them in snow globes, basically. It's ridiculous. Why is no one having fun with how stupid the whole film is? Yeah. Why is there, like, there's deadpan humour, doing things ridiculous in a deadpan way, but this was just like doing them very seriously, and it's a real shame.
So you've got I'd say the two main characters are The Rock's character and Chris Evans' character.
Yeah.
And I think there needed to be a contrast within the characters there, because you've got Chris Evans' character who's very serious and, like, grumpy, and The Rock's character should have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
But The Rock is also grumpy and miserable.
Yes.
So it's like you've just got two grumpy, miserable people leading a Christmas movie.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
It just kind of doesn't work in that way.
Yeah, I mean, and you can add J.K. Simmons. All three of them are pretty grumpy and serious in this.
I did like Lucy Liu's character. I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah, she does a bit fine. That probably is all we can say about this. I mean, is there anything else to add?
I mean, we've still been talking about it for 15 minutes. So.
Yeah, that's more than I thought. Yeah, that's true. Okay,
I think we should just rank it now.
Okay. Do you know where let's get the list up so we can have a look at our list
I think I do.
Again.
I just need to kind of look again and, like...
Our lists of every film we've seen this year at the cinema, right?
I've got it.
So 60 so far. This will be the 61st on our list. Do you know where's you're going then?
I think I'm putting it at 50.
So that's just...
It would be between The Crow 2024 and Tarot.
Okay, so slightly better than The Crow, which makes sense because there were problems with that film. I wouldn't say there's, like, really big problems with this film.
But I think because I love the original so much for The Crow that it had to go quite low, because I don't think it is, and like I think, like, if you're making a remake, you have to add more to the story in a good way. Yeah. Whereas they did more to the story and it was crap, honestly. So yeah, I do think Red One is better than that, but I think I had more fun watching Tarot.
Tarot was ridiculous, and I don't know if it was meant to be or not, but it was really funny. This thing, Red One could have been really funny, but it wasn't. Yeah,
there were some moments I was like, ha. It wasn't like an outright laugh, it was more of a, that was okay.
If you enjoy The Rock, you'll probably enjoy Red One. If you find The Rock a bit boring in movies, then it's what you'd expect. So I put it at number 51. just ahead of Borderlands on my list. And I think they're kind of similar films, Red One and Borderlands.
Ahead of Borderlands? You mean you'd put it at 50 as well, like me?
50 out of 60 on the list, yeah. Yeah, it's similar to Borderlands in that way. Both quite generic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Borderlands at least had more interesting performances.
Yeah.
And the world was more interesting. Yeah, just slightly worse than Borderlands.
Just slightly worse than Borderlands.
Yeah. There's the review for posters. Alright, Gladiator 2 then.
Right, well this, controversial, yes. But I actually think I preferred the second one to the first one.
Yeah, which surprised me when you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
So, I think I must have said this when we were talking about when we saw the Gladiator in cinemas. There was too much talking in the start for me.
What, the first film?
Yeah. And I didn't necessarily like a lot of the... Not because there's characters and things that you don't like because they're, like, evil characters, or, like Joaquin Phoenix's character.
Yeah.
You don't like, but you appreciate him as a character because it's, like...
Yeah, it's a really enjoyable character.
Whereas, like, that is the only character in that I really have any memory of.
Connie Nielsen?
I don't think she really stood out in...
I thought she got a lot of good moments. I enjoy her in that film.
I don't know. I just think in the second one, I think there were probably stronger acting performances. I think there were more strong, like...
Well, I don't know. I mean, the first one does have Joaquin Phoenix as Commodus.
That is very true. But then you've also got, Russell Crowe, who, in my opinion, could have been replaced with literally anyone and it would have been the same film.
Yeah.
With Paul Mescal, I think, the issue there was his accent kept being literally all over the place.
Yes.
Like, he'd go from quite strong Irish
to,
almost like a performance of Russell Crowe in Gladiator 1.
Yeah.
So I'd say that was the only issue with, the main acting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I think, the acting was good. I think the character maybe wasn't great.
Yeah, I think that was my problem with Paul Mescal and that. Yeah, I think, apart from the accent, he does... I mean, and there were bits I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
I liked when he fought Pedro Pascal, and he, came out right at the block, and you could feel, all of this rage coming off of him, physically. You could see the rage. But I think early in the film, well, that kind of was the thing. And Denzel Washington says it a few times about how much rage he can see on Paul Mescal, and he gets this scene of rowing a boat to show how angry he is. But
he's just scowling a little bit.
Yeah, but I never really felt the anger.
No.
I mean, maybe that's from the start of the film, because is it spoilers to say his wife dies? She dies 30 seconds into the film.
It's in the trailer.
Okay.
Because he goes I've lost everything, my wife's dead or whatever.
I mean, the second you see his wife and she gets one line, you know she's going to die. Yeah. And then she dies.
But it's also he blames other people, but his wife's stood right at the top of this building shooting arrows at people.
Yeah.
It's what do you think's going to happen to her?
She dies in war. I don't care about her death. It doesn't really move me.
No.
And then I suppose I won't spill that he's burning with anger to get revenge for her death. But because I don't care about her death, I'm not that invested in that. And also, he's then just cracking a lot of jokes with other people, and he suddenly appears as a gladiator, and okay, he's here now.
Yeah.
And I never, I just didn't really buy into this man seething with rage, except in specific moments. And then his rage kind of changes. I won't spoil that.
I think there was a very quick switch in his character, which I found a bit odd.
Yeah.
1 minute he's full of rage, and then the next minute he's ooh. So that's a bit weird. But then I also think this film does have Denzel Washington, who is so good. I'd say his character is on a level with Joaquin Phoenix in the first one.
Yeah, I think Denzel Washington is very good in this. I think both the Emperors are very good as well, actually. They don't get much to do.
Joseph Quinn, and I think he was called Fred Hare.
Fred Astaire. Who's Fred Astaire?
I don't know. I've heard the name, don't know.
Okay.
Don't know. But yeah, they were both very good.
Yeah. Okay. Generally, I think the acting performances were better in this film. You've got more characters who are doing strong performances, which in the first film it's mostly Joaquin Phoenix and Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
You
also had a brief appearance from the Hound.
Yes. There's a lot of more moving parts in this one compared to the first one as well, and a lot of it I enjoyed. There's all of it was entertaining. I was interested in all the things going on, what Denzel Washington's up to, what's happening with the emperors, what the general, what Pedro Pascal's doing,
and like I can't remember what's she called, Lucille.
Yeah, Lucilla.
Like her relationship with her son.
Yeah,
and things like that.
There's a lot of interesting moving parts. I just don't feel like they fully came together, and I think probably part of that is because I don't like Russ Crowe's performance isn't anything special, but it's like very clear what's going on with his character. He starts, there's things he cares about, all of it goes, and you can feel like he's got nothing left to live for.
Yeah.
And then he discovers another thing to fight for, and it's like very clear. With Paul Mescal, it's harder to follow and harder to sort of
It feels
feel.
like the same story, but there's not as much emotion, maybe.
Yeah.
But, like, I also think this film kind of does, like, crap on the first movie a little bit, because it kind of completely, like, eradicates some of the, like, deep moments from the first Gladiator.
Yes, I
won't go more into, like, detail because I don't... But
we kind of talked about it in the first Gladiator film, didn't we?
Oh, did we?
We said about the thing in there that bothers us with that film, which is that we get all of his backstory to do with how much he cares for his wife and his child, but he then has a romantic kiss with Lucilla in that film, and I feel like that kind of, I don't think that's needed. It kind of spoils some of the feeling for his wife.
Yes.
And they do more in this film that makes that more extreme. I also found I didn't quite buy they spent too much time, I think, calling back to the first film in this one.
Yeah.
Lots of people quoting lines from the original film that I'm sure these people wouldn't have heard in the time. Like, people are quoting Marcus Aurelius saying things from the first film, or quoting Maximus saying things, despite the fact they didn't meet them people.
Yeah.
But they just know these quotes. And there's the bit where...
But then that's kind of like how quotes happen, isn't it? Over time, things get repeated, I guess, from person to person to person.
But there's the bit where he takes up his father's sword and his armour, and you get a flashback to see Russell Crowe talking about the armour from the first film. And I kind of took away from it, I think.
I do get that. I just think I had more fun watching this one.
I think the fight.
But then I think also, like, we have to take into account the fact that you watched Gladiator when you were younger, the first one, and you consider it like one of your favourite films, maybe.
I did. I don't know if I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, I put it 14 on my list.
Whereas I only watched Gladiator like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So I don't have that attachment to it as a film, because to me it is just another like film.
Yeah.
That I've seen in the past year. Whilst I do like it, I
suppose. I mean, I was trying to think about what it is with me. I think both of these films. Well, all right. I think Gladiator 2 is very fun, very entertaining, historically completely ridiculous, but entertaining. Gladiator 1 is historically ridiculous, but very entertaining. But I think something about it feels stirring to me for some reason, the first one, in a way that the second one doesn't. It's probably more entertaining, actually, the second one, but it doesn't like motivate me, grip me in that same sort of way.
See, I was, because like Pedro Pascal's character I really liked, and I just kept saying to you, like, oh, I hope he's okay. I don't know if that's just because I really like Pedro Pascal in general, but like, well, whilst I don't think they did the best with his character, I think his character had like a nice, like, emotional addition to the film.
He's probably the bit I cared about the most, actually.
Yes. Yeah. And I think there was emotion in that sense.
Yeah.
Between him and like Lucilla and all that lot.
I guess what it is like, the first film was all this talk about the dream of Rome and what Rome's going to be, and this stuff he's fighting for, and something about it feels oddly meaningful. And I don't really know why. It just happens to. In this film, there's a lot more talk about the dream of Rome and what Marcus Aurelius' hopes were. Yeah. But I kind of like, what does it add up to that?
I kind of have something to say, but I can't say it because it'd be a spoiler.
He gives a big speech about how we're supposed to follow this dream of Rome, but it's kind of like, what does that mean? It doesn't feel moving to me in that way. I don't really care what Rome is anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something I can say, like, to word what I mean, but I can't without giving away spoilers.
All right, we'll cut it, but what is it out of interest? We just paused it and she explained what she was saying, and I don't think there is any way we can say that about spoiling,
no.
Is there? So we'll leave that bit. But, okay, right, well, generally then, what was best about this film?
Acting performances, I think the fights and stuff I enjoyed a lot more.
I enjoyed the fights. I mean, they were more ridiculous.
I think, yeah, but like I kind of liked that.
You get some monkey dog zombie things.
Well, they were just monkeys, but I just think they were quite badly done.
Okay. They just got monkeys.
They looked
wrong.
like zombie like monkeys, something like of like what is it? 28 Days Later, something like that.
There's also sharks in the coliseum.
See, I kind of liked that because it was like a different. It was. Like,
I didn't mind the sharks.
There's only so many times you can see one like just a standard fight in a coliseum, so they kind of needed to do something a bit different.
I mean, I enjoyed the ship battle a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's harder to feel like believing this. I mean, Gladiator 1 isn't believable either, but it's harder to feel like you believe it this time around, but it's still fun. The fights were really good. I liked the battle at the start as well, despite the wife death not really getting me.
Yeah. A brief like moment with Derek Jacobi in which you missed because you went for a pee.
I was annoyed about that, yeah. I saw Derek Jacobi was in it again, and he's, 90-something now, I think.
We recently saw him in an episode of Ludwig, which we would recommend if people watching because it was so good.
I liked Ludwig a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, Derek Jacobi's in the second one again, that's going to be good. And then I went to the toilet and missed it.
Yeah.
And then you said I missed it. And then all
he
of the other...
He doesn't say anything else, I don't think.
No, it didn't have any other... He pops up in the background of a couple of scenes standing there.
Yeah, doing like head movements, but like, yeah.
I was really annoyed by that. I was also really annoyed, again, by the audience. Well, I wasn't really annoyed by this one, because it wasn't distracting. It was just...
Oh, it was really annoying,
a bit much, though.
Yeah. There was a woman who was on her phone. I'm going to say the entirety of the film.
Yeah,
Anytime I looked over, she was on her phone.
She was just constantly on WhatsApp,
A guy even came in, like, who worked at the cinema and was like, "Excuse me, can you not be on your phone?" I was like, "I'm not on my phone."
And she's like, "I've just briefly been on it, just checking something quickly."
I was like, "No, you're on it the entire film." What annoyed me the most, though, was as we were walking out in front of us, she went, "It was good. It just wasn't as good as the first." And I'm like, "How do you know you haven't watched a second of it?"
No, she hadn't. The bloke next to her was.
He was laughing, like loving it, yeah.
He was laughing an odd amount. Someone gets stabbed and he started laughing. I was confused by that.
In kind of like a serial killer kind of way.
Yes. Yeah, he laughed. And then like one of the emperors laughed about the stabbing.
Yes. At one point I looked over and he was literally like on the edge of his seat with excitement.
She was not bothered.
Yeah, it kind of just felt like he wanted to see it and she tagged along on.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that. Even if you made me see a film I didn't want to see, I don't think I'd do that.
No, but like even then, like there's been films that we've seen separately because like you went to see Oppenheimer, and I went to see Talk to Me, the horror movie.
Yeah, if you weren't interested in Oppenheimer, I wasn't going to make you.
It wasn't that I wasn't
interested.
It was just like I really wanted to see Talk to Me, and I knew it was only going to be in cinemas for like a week, which it was. So
all right.
Anyways.
Where would you put Gladiator 2?
I am going to put Gladiator 2 at number 17.
Oh, that's high. So that's...
Well, I've put Gladiator 1 at 18, so I think it just...
yeah, because you did... Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
My Gladiator 1 is at 14 on my list. I'm putting... I've just looked, because I made a note. What did I put it? I put it at 34.
What?
Yeah. I think it's...
So you put it in between Maxine and The Crow 1994?
Yes, I did. I think there's a lot to love about this film. Entertaining, great. Not funny, I wouldn't say though.
I think there were some kind of funny moments, like with the Emperors.
Yeah, but not like generally.
But it wasn't like comedy, it was more like you're just laughing at how ridiculous these people are.
Yeah. I don't think it was as like deeper political intrigue type film as it could. It had some moments of that, which were quite nice.
I think that's kind of why maybe I prefer it, because there was a lot of like political conversations in the first one, and I was just like, come on, I want to get to the fighting.
Yeah. I just didn't find it stirring in the same way. I still find Gladiator 1 stir. It's still something about Gladiator 1 moves me.
I think it was a very good follow-up, though.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I like... Because I remember when we saw the first trailer, and it was just kind of like a really, like, weird trailer with, like, rap music over the top.
I thought it was going to be awful.
And we were like, oh, here we go.
It's not awful, no.
Well, I liked it.
I do have problems with it, I think, though.
I liked it.
Yeah, I still liked it. But I do have problems. I don't think it's, like... I don't think like everything in the film works necessarily. I don't think anything's like really bad or like a problem exactly.
Then I kind of felt the same about the first Gladiator. Not everything works in my opinion. So.
I think it does.
I mean, I don't agree with like the whole scene with like Maximus and Lucilla.
All right, that's all right. Apart from that, I think it
and
does.
I didn't like Russell Crowe in the slightest in it.
All right. Well, I don't. He's not. He isn't. He's kind of a Dwayne Johnson performance. Yeah. It's not like a problem.
Get Batista instead of him.
But he doesn't really add much.
I would like that. Like.
But just
Batista in a coliseum, but it's like instead of like swords or anything, it is him just wrestling moves.
Well, everyone else has got swords back then.
Maybe that for Gladiator 3.
Yeah. So should we put them in a list and see how everything looks after that? We have 62 films there. Right, so we've put them all into the list now, and because you're adding more, it bumps a lot of the numbers up. It means my Red One is finished at 52, and Gladiator 2 is now at number 34.
Whereas my Red One is number 51, and Gladiator 2 is number 18.
And the one difference I notice here, actually, though, is my Red One is in my bottom 10 of the year now. Yours is just outside of it. Yours has just avoided the bottom 10. Will mine still be there by the end of the year, do you?
I don't think so.
Do you think there's only going to be anything worse than it?
I don't know. I can't really fully remember what's coming out and what we're going to go see.
No, I can't. It might still be there, yeah.
Who knows?
I don't think anything else is going to take the bottom spot. I don't think anything else is going to take the top spot.
I think the only film that could possibly take the top is the Lord of the Rings film, for me.
Yeah, but that could also be awful. I don't know.
It could. I love the anime style, though. I think it's so cool.
I think I do. I don't know. It feels odd for me seeing Lord of the Rings like that, but I imagine once it starts, I'll adjust to it. But, yeah, that's our video. That's our thoughts on these films. Do you have any question to ask?
Ooh. Okay, since we saw a Christmas movie, what is your favourite Christmas movie?
Oof. Apart from Home Alone, I can't think of any at all that I can you think of any Christmas films?
Well, you thought Groundhog Day was a Christmas film.
I got told off for that, didn't I?
I don't know what my favourite Christmas film would be.
Mine probably is Home Alone.
Could I say Black Christmas, the horror movie?
I suppose it's got Christmas in the title.
Let's go Black Christmas.
What could be more Christmassy than that? I'll just go Home Alone. Home Alone. A lot of Christmas films I find try too hard to be Christmassy, like the good-hearted Christmas spirit, and I don't buy it. But I enjoyed that film. That's a question. That's the video. We've got to eat now because our food's ready.
Yeah.
So, goodbye.
Bye.